right now there are so many apps out there which you can actually utilize to build complete apps. It's just crazy. And given that there are so many choices, it's so difficult to actually nail one now. So I'm going to compare the two of the best applications available outside, which is Lovable and Replit, which allow you to build complete apps without writing a single line of code. So with that in mind, let's get started. I'm going to rate them across multiple parameters. This is the scoreboard that we are going to actually use. I'll explain that in a second. Now, let me start by explaining the task for today. We're going to actually ask them to create an app, which is going to be about a reading app, which can track your books, which can track your notes about the books, and where you can also see them in a virtual library. Now, the first thing that I'm going to ask is to start by creating PRD, which is like a product requirement documentation, to actually see how good they are at planning. We're going to see how good they are at their planning and actually see what they actually come up here. So as you can see here, Replit has started creating design guidelines, and here technically we get the MCQ options from. Now I'm not sure what I'll actually like, but this is pretty cool that I get to choose more options here. So I'm going to give it like, again, like a cozy and warm tour, because that's how I want it. And then how would users find? I'm thinking of Open Library API, which is something super cool. I never expected it to ask me this, which is like how will the books get searched? Then how do you want the users to create? I technically want them to have authentication, and what reading activity matters most to you. Books read, and also like, again, the reading category. What are you building for? I'm building for, let's say, like, again, external users, obviously. With that, let's submit. And here, technically, it has not asked us anything, right? Again, and I believe like it has automatically started building the app. Now, this will be interesting to see what ends up here. I actually like what Lovable started with, because this is pretty important that it gave me guidance on what is the option that I can go through and what are the things that I still need to decide rather than just what I gave in the prompt. Now, the one thing I'm going to do is, Lovable has come up with a plan. I'm not going to review the plan. I'm just going to select and implement the plan, because we want to actually see how this ends up getting created. And as you can see here, we also have Replit automatically started creating. The one thing that Replit has said that it's going to allow it to build everything separately. Okay, so the option that we're getting here is, do you want to start enabling Lovable Cloud from the get-go, which is pretty cool that it's asking me those specific questions right now and actually going ahead and building the full app. And I'm going to allow this to happen, because this also goes to show on how easy it is to build a full stack app in one shot compared to, let's see how much time it takes here on Replit. The goal is to not use more than 10 prompts to actually get to a decent level app, which we can launch to the users. But let's see where we end up. Okay, so we are getting some errors in Lovable Cloud, but this is probably a one-off, because I could see that there was an error that Lovable Cloud is not working very well. So I'm just going to ask it to build the front end first, and then we'll see how it comes out. Now, here are some things that are happening on the Replit side. First thing, it has automatically selected Open Library API, and which is super cool that like I did not have to select it here, and it has given me like, kind of, let's say I was a user that did not know the difference between an Open Library API or a Google API. I would choose something on the Replit side. So even if I like control on Lovable, if you are someone who has no experience on AI or APIs or tech, this would be something that you would choose much better for. So let's see, like again, it's like, it's very interesting to see both the apps working right side by side and actually seeing what is coming out of each one. Okay, perfect. So we have the final output ready, and both of them took like the equal amount of time. So there is nothing faster, nothing slower, and this is on Replit. So, and this is on like, again on. So I'm going to show you both in full screen so you can judge for yourself. Now, one thing that Replit has done without even me asking is like creating a dark mode and a light mode. It's not that I have put in some personal preference here, but it just exists. And let me just move myself to the side. So you guys can see, like, again, very simply, this is one book that they have kept, and I want to switch this to light mode because I want to compare, like, this to the Lovables. Decent homepage, nothing much. It comes to the dashboard. Let's see if I add a book. Can I search, like, again, Atomic Habits? Now you can see, like, it's not perfect. The search is here, like, again, and I'm also on like a wide screen, so might be, but like doesn't move. I'm glad that this is working. Like, I search for Atomic Habits and it shows up. This is something that we're going to test. Like, how does the first response look like? They have actually added it with the API. So if it has been added to the library, it's pretty good. Like, again, added to the library, but the dashboard, like, again, I don't know. Okay, so let's see if I come here and can I switch this to want to read to currently reading? Okay, and then it automatically gave me a progress, which is great. And I can come back to the dashboard. Okay, so this is not updating, or like, let's see if I go ahead to there and I change it to like 3 books, 3 pages read, and come back again to the dashboard, and it's pretty good. Like, again, you have the 3 books read and everything else. So core functionality working really well. You have the homepage is like could have been better. Like, it's trending this week. I get it. Like, again, they have actually like linked it to the number of users. I'm glad it has a dark mode because it looks pretty cool. And given that I did not give it that option and it has created it automatically, it gets pretty good. Like, really, really good. Like, again, on a score of on like, again, like, out of 5, I'll probably give like But okay, let's see on how did we get it done with our beautiful Lovable. So first of all, I love the homepage much better. Like again, it's pretty similar, but given that it is better on the compared to this, they spent a bit more time in the hero section. Popular with community, you have a couple of options which is pretty good. They have added some demo data which is pretty good. Now let's come to the dashboard. They have added some like as demo. I want to see if I updated how is that working, because that would be the true part. So let's say if I change the progress to like 100% complete, does this update it now? It's not, right? Again, so if I like, it's still in reading and it is not updating the progress. So yeah, you can see it like it's updated here, but when I come back here, it's still the same. Let's see how the search is working. So apparently, like again, Lovable did not add the API or could not add it right now. That's probably like a small issue that we can like again work around. If I click on this, it brings me back to the same book. Okay, so I think like a page like again is still like not done well. Like they could have added this if they are adding these. Like again, I did not expect them to add multiple books, but if they have added it, I would expect Lovable to like again technically do that. The library works well. Like again, not bad at all. Like again, decently done. And yeah, so UI wise, yes, but given that it's not working, even though that they face the issue, I'm like again, I'm surprised, like again, that it would be so bad. I believe like again the front end things would work very well. Okay, so let's do this. Okay, so we're going to come back to our rubric and now we're going to judge. So on design, like again, just pure design, I still like I honestly like the Lovable looks better with like the colors and everything else pretty well picked, even though both of them look pretty similar. So if I just like get to like a new split view, both of them look pretty similar, but still like just from a color and accents perspective, I would give Lovable the first like again 100% the best option here. So we're going to do that and come back and like very simply like allow the rubric to be very simply in favor of Lovable. So we're going to give 3, like it's not great, and probably like 2. Now on the actual parameter where like again how does the app actually show up. So now on design, I've given the weightage to be 30%. Now here I will give Replit like a good 2 and maybe like let's a point more. It's not crazy good, but like it's great. But now from final product rate like 110% or even like just the start product rate, I would give this like again Replit 110% like a 4 and Lovable like a 2, even though like again let's see how it actually ends up. So we're going to give it a couple of more prompts to see on how we end up here. So the best thing what happened here is like again it actually had like the production database setup and everything else, because Replit is probably not facing any issues right now and Lovable was. So I'm going to give it one more shot. So I'm going to give it like again first enable Lovable cloud and then let's see what happens. So if it can enable Lovable cloud right now, that also goes to like simply like reliability, if it can add that and convert the application. So I'm going to allow this and let's see what happens. If it's not able to add it, I'm going to discount that right now, because on their status page they do show up this. So now the status page says that it's fixed like around a couple of minutes back. So then I believe like again we would be getting like this setup. So let's see. So the Lovable cloud has started working, and in the meantime I'm going to give Replit an option to add authentication for users so that they can sign up in the app and add their books and everything else. We're going to see how this actually turns out to be, because like again I think like Lovable is going to be done in a couple of minutes with the cloud, and let's see how it adds authentication here. So we're going to test the authentication functionality, which is pretty like again important. And as you can see, like again I believe it is not able to like again figure this out, because I'm going to like again see on what would be the problem here. So we have this, your app crashed, and I'm going to give it option to debug. So compared to this, I believe like again Lovable has pretty better authentication. So I'm just going to put like Akshat Bahety, Akshat@gmail.com. This is not a real email. Please don't mail anywhere there. And we're going to click out. Now, given that the account is actually created, let's see, can we add a new book now? And does this work? Awesome. This is actually like again much better improvement once the Lovable cloud is added. So if I want to like let's say currently read, that's pretty good. Like again it updates everything else now again, and you have the reading option, you have the library, and let's say if I add one more, let's say we're going to search Adam's crops, right? Because like again let's see, okay, you're not there, but let's say like again we use memoirs of Sherlock Holmes and I add this to want to read. Yep, this gets added in the dashboard, and then there are total books and the books read, which is pretty cool. Like again I am not sure on how I can update the progress. So let's say I update the progress to 100 and save now and come back here. Looks like the reading streak is getting updated. I would love like this to be a bit better from a design perspective, but that's pretty good. But I'm glad to see like again you have like again completely built an app very quickly. Let's see where Replit is stuck. So it has worked, and we can, let's see if we can sign in now. So I'm going to bring this back here and see if we can sign in. Until the workspace is loading, let me tell you about our beautiful community which is called Better with AI, where you can actually learn AI with the real builders, where you can learn how to build more systems like this and actually deploy them in the real world. We have a ton of courses which are exclusive available to members, which will never be seen on YouTube, which will be about landing a new job in AI, landing careers in AI, landing new clients with AI, where we actually open up the secret sauce on what we do and how you can replicate the same. Check out the benefits here. I would love to see you there, where you get an exclusive call with me and we get to talk about anything that you want and help you on your AI journey. With that, let's get back to Replit and see where we are. So Replit suggests that you should try to log in your app from an incognito window, because you can see so how you can log in, because right now if I sign in, I only have the option to sign in Replit directly. Now I already have access to that, so this will be using Replit to sign in, and I don't think that makes sense, because very simply again, why will I be signing in via Replit? But it does sign in. So that's pretty cool, it works. But the one thing that I would like to test is the final part, which is actually deployment. Okay, so sign-in works kind of, but again here very simply, if I go back to our Replit plus database, 110%, I have to give a straight 3, but also Replit again does not disappoint, because we just have to publish the app to actually see that. So maybe a single point more, but let's see how does that hosting and actual cost comes out to be. Okay, so the final thing that we're going to do is now actually publish the app. So one, we can add a custom domain very quickly here, or we can just use the URL that is given. So I'm going to just use bookworm.lovable in case that exists. Let's see if I can save that. I think this would have been taken. Yes, bookworm white YouTube test. Let's see if that exists. Yes, I believe that exists. There are a couple of warnings, and again, we can try to fix them, or update security, which is a pretty cool feature. Let's see where we end up there. But I'm just going to click on publish right now and see if the app is live. So it should take a couple of seconds for the app to be live. It will take some time. In the meantime, let's try to do the same here also. Now, one thing that you see again, which I like about personally from this perspective, is that you get everything in a single place and more like a editor friendly option to see everything. But again, nothing against it. So with this, again, just click on publish, and they are also giving up a free domain up to $13, which I believe is just right now. But let's see on the publish option. So here we already have an app live, which is available, so anyone can use it. So here, pretty good. Again, you have the app live. I will drop the link below if you guys want to check it out. And with that, again, technically, we have the application live from Lovable. Now, the one thing that I want to see is if I go to my projects. So I go to all projects and I select my reading journey. Now I'm going to get out of the split view so that we can see this more clearly. In the cloud option, we have the database, which I believe are visible now. Again, there is an option. We can see the tables, we can see the profiles and everything else, which is good. You can also see the user signups and who has signed up at what time. You also have the storage available here and the edge functions and an option to add an AI feature. So with this, I would say again, technically it does perform pretty well on hosting. I want to see finally when we are done with hosting here, what options are available. So you can see the database here. You have the production database, the development database, which is something that I really like, that you have two separate databases. This helps in the long run, not right now. If you're just building something normally, you will not feel the need for it, but also that remember that it is a full-blown platform rather than compared to just for vibe coding. Console exists, and again, pretty again, as an engineer I would prefer this, but as a vibe coder I would be okay either ways to use this or something else. That is pretty good. Hosting, both of them are equally good. Again, I don't think there is any issues as such, and we can give them full marks on making hosting super easy. Now again, there is obviously something that you can improve, again, checking the security scan. Why do I need to give that? You should just automatically scan that and fix it if needed, again, rather than waiting for me, given that a lot of people might not know about security. And maybe here again, Replit is technically a bit more secure compared to because everything is hosted on their platform compared to anywhere else. So maybe if we just had to be again, I give both of them equal on this, and hosting probably Replit gets a higher point. So don't want to take anything away from Lovable, but there. Now comes to the actual question, which is the costing. Now costing here is something that's very tricky, because let me see how many messages are we actually left with. In Lovable we used around 10 credits, which is around you can say around $2.5. But here, because we were using the agent mode, which works extremely similar to Lovable, where I don't have to do anything, and then you have this option where it automatically picks up autonomous activity, automatically does everything. They charged me $7.5. Again, with all the media generation and everything else, $7.5 a lot, or the way they are doing the billing is pretty confusing for anyone. So if I just take you to my profile and I take you to the usage option, here we have spent around $7.5 in just this particular app. That's all I've been building, and now it's around 8.68. You can see the breakdown also, right? So you can see like, again, how much which app used and what was the application usage for. So they do this, give this for free additionally, but also like this should be unlimited in my $25 usage, like probably like a credit system or something like that. But this is pretty surprising to me, or at least like the idea on how this works is a bit like confusing, even though like the actions performed are pretty much the same. With that, like again, probably like a score of 2 or like 1, and Lovable 110% 3 here with the roll of 4. Now with all of this combined, let's see what the winner is. And the idea is Replit leads by a very small sum, because the point is the design is better with Lovable, the design and like the final product rate is better with it, right? But honestly, I would say like again, overall, if you had to choose between one of them, I would still choose Lovable, just because the ease of use from perspective. Even if like again, just based on the scores we ended up here, does not mean that I would choose that preference for now the score is pretty close. Like again, between both of them, verdict looks like again technically either of them are pretty good. But I'm going to add one more option here. I'm going to add versatility, and we're going to change the design to be like again 20%, because like this was not a very big design challenge, and change versatility to 15% or like at least 10%, because I want to see and I want to tell you like again, you can build only web apps with Lovable right now, but with the Replit you can build a mobile app, automations and agents, everything else in one shot. And when you look at that, the option like again here, very simply, if you come here, you can build like a web app, a mobile app, a data app, a 3D game. Then it makes sense like for actual like again utilization, a $25 Replit plan gives you much more options compared to what Lovable gives. And that's where the legacy of what they have been building for so long builds here. Again, I believe Lovable will add these options pretty soon, or at least like the mobile app option very soon. But right now, if you had to subscribe to something and if I had to recommend something, then I would technically recommend Replit for more options to access and more options to build here. If you enjoyed the video and you're watching till here, I'm sure you did, please hit the subscribe button so you can watch more comparisons like this. If you really enjoyed this a lot more, click the like. It really helps you out a lot, and I would love to see you in the next one. Till then, bye-bye.